kindly. Again, a very warm welcome. This is indeed the final moments of our ICDE Leadership Summit. And we are very pleased that we can end our gathering with another thematic focus and contributors that come to us from various regions of the world. We have first the privilege to listen to the keynote presentation of Dr. Bohene Chakroun. He is the UNESCO Director of Policies and Lifelong Learning Systems, who joins us from Paris. So we kindly invite you, Dr. Chakroun, to speak to us. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. Very good morning, and very pleased to be here with you. Honored to have this keynote speech. Let me, before getting to my presentation, highlight our strong collaboration with ICDE. We have been partnering for many years, and our collaboration is strong. It's very productive that we look forward to continuing. We are also very pleased to know and to engage with Globethics, and thank you to the chair for this opportunity to engage. I hope we'll have future opportunities as well to collaborate. Based on the request that we get from the organizers, I prepared the presentation that will try to focus on a few aspects. First of all, I, of course, will place the discussion in a more global agenda and how we link it with the futures of education, with the Sustainable Development Agenda, the Summit of the Future, and some of them were mentioned by my colleague from ITU. I would like also to share some of the perspective we are having at UNESCO when it comes to futures of education, the digital transformation and artificial intelligence, a very important work we are doing on the recognition of qualifications, and we have many colleagues from higher education, and of course, that agenda is very important. And finish with a word on the digital and the green, and how this can also interact. Probably this was discussed, but I wanted to highlight this at the end of my presentation. We'll try to stick to the time. I know we have a short time for the note. But before that, I would like to do rather my own Mentimeter and ask few rather questions. First, I would like to know if in the room, colleagues who know about our Futures of Education work and the International Commission on Future of Education. Can you raise your hand, colleagues who know about it? Okay, that's very 1/3, let's say. That's good. That's a really good result. Do you know about our work on ethics in AI? Again, little. Who knows about the Global Convention on Recognition of Qualification concerning higher education? Okay, these are the three things that I hope you will get out of my presentation today. Let me move to the context and the drivers. I think it's very important that whatever discussion we are having on AI, on education, on higher education, place it in a much broader agenda of multiple transition that we are facing. Some of them are related, of course, to how we are recovering from the COVID and impact the Industry 4.0 and of course, AI issues related to unemployment and in particular, high level of youth unemployment in developing countries. Demography, and I will come back to that because I think it's very important, particularly for higher education. The right to education and the importance of a human right perspective, and of course, always related to climate change and the transition to more sustainable and green transition. So it's very important that we take this into account. Just one aspect on the informal economy, for example. In most of the economies, particularly developing economies, the informal economy remains very, very important. In some cases, 70% or 80% of the economy, and it's not shrinking to, according to the data that our colleagues at ILO are showing. Even the gig economy includes informal part of the economy, the Deliveroo and all these part. Also, the click jobs that we also know are taking place, and large number of people who are training AI. So it's very important that we also think about the economy in its diversity. It's not all formal economy, it's not all high-end economy, it's not all industry 4.0, but also very important part of the economy, in the global economy, that is less, I would say, glorious in terms of the penetration of technology and the impact of technology. Maybe something that is very important when it comes to education and higher education is the demography. And I'm putting a slide on how the world will look like in 2050. Of course, people might think it's very far, it's tomorrow. And the impact on the demography will be critical. And when we look at where we are, we'll have a very elder population in many parts of the world. Of course, Europe, but also in Asia, in some cases in North America. And advanced working age population, including countries like India, in China, but very youthful population in Africa. And this will have implications on, and because we are in ICDE conference, it has implication on how higher education will evolve and how we'll meet the demand for higher education, if you consider that higher education is also part of the broader right to education. So take into account the demography seems to me very important, and thinking about how AI will contribute to addressing some of the challenges that we are facing seems to me an important part of the discussion that we have to take today and obviously in the future. Sorry, it was 2023, but this is how we will look like in 2050. And you can see, and let me just get, I don't know if I can get back here. Let me get back just to see. So this is the situation, and sorry, this is the situation 2020-30, and this is the situation 2050. So much elder population in many parts of the world, and rather the world workforce will be in Africa, and we'll need to take that into account in terms of the talent building, in terms of the engagement as well. We, and in the panel earlier, we were speaking about ethics in AI and AI. I think we should have a slogan that we have to advocate for as an international community. It's ethics in AI, but also AI in our terms. If AI is not able to address the challenge that we are facing, then AI is failing. And part of the challenge we are facing is that we have today globally 250 million children and youth who are out of school. We have more than 600 million illiterate persons. We have people, and we know, according to the work that the World Bank colleagues, UNICEF and us are doing, the learning poverty is quite high among children, particularly at the age of 10 in many low and middle and low middle income countries. The students at age 10, they are not able to read and understand a simple sentence. And these will come further into the stock of illiterate persons. We need 44 million teachers to achieve the SDG 4 by 2030. And most of you spoke about the impact on economy, on labor market, on jobs more broadly. So I think AI should be in our terms, should help us addressing the challenge that we are facing when we are speaking about the contribution that AI can have in education more broadly. So in our work, we have worked on an agenda about the futures of education. We put it in plural in the sense that there is no one future. There are different opportunities up to us to shape the future that we think is good and is appropriate for humanity and for the planet. So it's not only about reacting to AI, it's not only about addressing an aspect related to AI, it's also how we are shaping our vision for education for the future. And when we are putting, and this is the report that I was trying to see if colleagues know it, and obviously I invite you to read it, to look at it. And it's about setting a new social contract for education around a few aspects that are important. One is how we think about pedagogies of cooperation and engagement. how we think about curriculum and knowledge that are supporting the knowledge commons, how we transform work of teachers. And we were listening in the early sessions how AI can transform teachers, but it has to support and valorize teaching profession rather than thinking that it can substitute. How we safeguard and transform schools, universities, and education institutions, but also how education across different times and spaces is recognized, is valued. And I think it's very important, and some of the colleagues spoke about lifelong learning perspective, but that's lifelong learning perspective is not a reality today, and I wanted to highlight it. We continue thinking about education as a linear path that takes us from basic education to higher education. I think we need to think about lifelong learning as something, first of all, that starts very early. And by now, all the evidence, the research shows that we start learning very early, and that if we don't invest in early learning, our learning journey will be impacted. So we need to think about how we are investing in early learning, how we take different learning settings from school to workplace to communities to online, of course, and how we valorize, how we recognize this learning, how we think about jobs that are not permanent, and how we upskill, how we reskill the workforce, how we take elders. Today, the question is not only about education until the retirement age, is beyond. And we have seen during the COVID, our elder persons had to learn how to engage with the health, for example, issues. Of course, technology is another aspect that we need to take into account. So how we think about the different learning settings and the different set of skills that we are acquiring is very important from my point of view. And obviously, AI can help us in addressing that. And we have some examples, and I'm sorry, I see that the shape of these slides are a bit distorted with the presentation, but I wanted to say that AI is helping and can be a driver for adaptive learning to support learning in different contexts. We know, for example, that in India, Khan Academy is working with the Indian government to offer adaptive learning for marginalized population and to adapt to the needs of learners. We know that in Canada, there are also mentorship programs that are supporting and coaching learners in a learning path. We know that in the United Kingdom, there are opportunities for tutoring systems. So AI can help in addressing some of the challenges that we are facing. And for example, we have 250 million learners that are out of school. How AI can help us address those needs? It's about AI in our terms and the needs that we are trying to, as humanity, we are trying to advance. So I think there is a question that probably is important. Can countries leapfrog AI towards AI in education? And the contexts are different. And we have more than 30 countries in the room. We have different continents from Asia Pacific to Africa to Europe to Latin America. And the question is AI the same everywhere? Is AI useful everywhere? And can countries leapfrog? And I have some issues that I would like to highlight. First of all, I think, and my colleague in ITU mentioned the Global Digital Compact. That's a framework that is from UN, is trying to address the digital divide across countries, the digital divide within economies and countries. And I think having that broader agenda in mind is also very important when we are discussing the role of higher education in particular. Higher education is part of the wider context. It's about education, it's about research, but it's also about engaging communities, and it has a responsibility to address those challenges. We have also, and I was asking about your knowledge about ethics in AI recommendation. We have a UNESCO ethics in AI recommendation. It's not specific to education, but it has different aspects that are important. Aspects related to legal and regulatory frameworks, aspects related to social and cultural dimension of AI, economic dimension, scientific and educational dimensions, and technology and infrastructure. So we, as part of the work we are doing, we are looking at how countries, and it's very important that we don't look only on education, we have to place it in the broader economic and societal issues. So the framework that we are proposing looks at all these different dimensions, look at the readiness of countries around those different dimensions. But we have also, and it's very important that the international community is engaged. We have an AI expert without borders that are working for common good, that are working for common framework. We have women for ethics in AI, and we know that there are gender bias, and some of the colleagues were referring to that. We have an observatory of ethics in AI to look at how countries are developing framework, regulatory, but also how this is being implemented. And we have a work on digital anthropology so that we are able to look at what is the heritage that we are having and how we build a heritage is not only about the past, it's about preserving, it's also about promoting and looking at anthropological. And one of the colleagues who are speaking about decolonization, colonizations, this is a very important also part of the discussion that we are having. But this is a macro dimension. The question that I wanted to put forward is that how AI and digital transformation can be framed in this our vision for future of education, and how it can inform the work we are doing and the vision that we are having for the future of education that we adopted 2 years ago. But it's also how we address equity and inclusion, how we address the challenge of having 2.6 billion people are not connected to internet and who will be impacted, but they are not necessarily equipped to leverage the potential. So in this work, we have developed a framework, a systemic framework for digital transformation that I wanted to share with you. And we call it 5 Cs. It's a way to make it more brandable or to make it more accessible. But it covers key aspects that we think the digital transformation has to take into account. One is about coordination and leadership. It's about governance and who are involved in the governance of the digital transformation and of AI. The second is about costs and sustainability. One of the colleagues earlier was mentioning about the importance of the investment, but how we make the investment in digital transformation in AI sustainable. The third is about, of course, the infrastructure and connectivity. The fourth is about capacities and culture, and colleagues were speaking about the capacities of teachers, learners, of faculties and school leaders, university leadership. So this capacity and culture is an important aspect. And the last is about content, curriculum, certification. So it's about how we are embedding AI and digital transformation in education. But all this is about data and the information system that can support it. And again, the question is how this can be can take into account the context. And for example, regarding data, we know that if I take Africa, we have very few data centers. So the data on which AI is trained is biased because it is not inclusive of our diversity and the diversity that we have in the room, for example. So the question is how the digital transformation is taken into account our diversity. And what my question earlier, how we can leapfrog. I don't think countries can leapfrog AI if the digital transformation vision is not there. If government are not having a vision for the digital transformation of education, and if universities are not having a vision of digital transformation. So I think these aspects go hand in hand. It's very hard to see how the use of AI will be context-based if there is no data that is on which the capacities are developed, and if it is not context-based and it's not conducive for a better response to the specific needs. So I think we had a discussion regarding how to have a more human-centered AI, and I was mentioning that AI has to be in our terms. And we do, I think, agree all that it's a double-edged sword. You regulate too much, you reduce the innovation and creativity. You don't regulate, you get garbage in, garbage out. So the question, and I'm an engineer by profession, it's like a curve. The more you regulate, the less you have innovation. The less you regulate, the more you have a kind of a highway for different things that we were discussing about, the negative privacy, security. So the question is how you find the right balance where you regulate because you need to regulate, but you also are able to offer more opportunities for creativity, for innovation, for leveraging the potential. And our approach has been to look at, first of all, we are calling it digital humanism. Basically, it's about a human-centered AI, it's about human-centered digital transformation, but that is regulated, but that can offer opportunities that can address equity and inclusion challenge that we face, inequality in societies, that we see inequalities within and across economies. So that spirit of agenda for equity and inclusion seems to us important, and building the capacities of teachers, learners is critical, and colleagues were referring to that. And that's the work that we are doing. We are working on a framework for teachers with an international expert group, an AI competency framework, which is, without going into the details of it, but I think it takes these aspects of some area that we consider important: ethics of AI, human-centered mindset, AI foundation application, AI pedagogy, and AI for professional development, and taking leveling from acquiring to deepening to create, and having that framework. And we hope that it is a common framework that can be leveraged by different countries and different institutions. And this is a work under development. I just wanted to share the work that we are doing at the stage. And the second work we are doing is about a competency framework for school students. And again, we are looking at different aspects that we think are important. Again, human-centered ethic of AI. And a colleague was mentioning earlier that we need to have a quite important attention to that, but also how we leverage AI for application and AI system design, and looking at understanding, applying, and create, again, a framework for progression. So this is the work that we are doing, and is something that those framework will be launched in September and during Digital Learning Week in Paris. But most of the work that we are doing is, of course, available. Let me move very quickly, and I'm looking about the time, to issues that are important for higher education. Just to, again, to say that we are on the same boat, but we are not equal. To take, for example, gross enrollment rate in higher education, in Africa, the gross enrollment rate is around 9%. The international average is around 42%. The EU and North America is around 80% of gross enrollment rate in higher education. So the gap is huge. And that means that we need to think about how we broaden access, how we make higher education more relevant, but also how distance learning, how AI can help us addressing this divide. If we all believe that higher education is critical for the economic growth, for sustainability, for equity in societies. So today, the situation is quite uneven across region and across economies. Through UNESCO, we have developed an architecture for recognizing qualification and skills within and across border. Is a vision for not only a normative dimension, not only about recognizing qualification, it's about creating an international higher education area for cooperation and solidarity in higher education. And the global convention that was adopted by countries in 2019 is, I would say, the illustration of it. It's a convention that helps recognizing skills, recognizing qualifications across border, recognizing refugees and displaced persons qualification. What is important in it, and today we have around 28 countries that have ratified this convention, but we have around 30 countries that are in the pipeline. What is important in this global convention for the recognition of higher education qualification is that it is based on some common principles. It's about recognizing partial qualification, not only full qualification. It's about recognizing prior learning. It's about recognizing non-traditional learning modes. It's about recognizing qualification of refugees and displaced persons, but with common principles about quality assurance, about qualifications, about information and trust, and building trust across and within region. So this is an important tool that UNESCO, through its member states, has adopted, and that I think can help us advancing the common agenda that we are discussing together, including on AI. AI will impact the way we recognize qualifications, the way we adopt quality assurance, the way we trust or don't trust qualification, the way we certify those skills and the learning outcomes. And we see that countries are developing qualifications framework. According to our global inventory, we have around 40% of member states who are adopting national qualifications framework. Some are in activation stage, others are still in a design or in explorative stage. But all countries are working on qualifications framework, on learning outcomes, on recognizing qualifications. And that's a common agenda that we have to advance. We have also a usage of AI solutions for certifications, just to mention some of them. That are implemented in different countries. So the recognition of qualification within and cross borders will be impacted by AI, and we speak about micro-credentials, we speak about stacking qualifications, and this is something that probably the agenda, when we are speaking about AI, again, in our terms, is how we build more trustworthy qualifications framework across border and within countries. To finish with, I would like to mention that probably we have many data today that show that AI needs energy. AI has a carbon footprint. AI needs, I would say, electrical power that can further harm our world and our climate. So I think the interplay between digital transformation and greening is very important. Our thinking about AI implications on our climate is something that we need to look at, and vice versa. AI can help us find better solution for greening, can help us find better way to address the greening transition and the climate change. So that, I would say, constructive and positive interplay is something that we need to think about, and something that we need to advance together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shakrun, for this keynote presentation. And we now have the pleasure to welcome His Excellency Professor Ibrahim Al-Naimi, who is the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Education and Higher Education of Qatar.
Good morning. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really delighted to be with you at this summit. And I'd like really to thank the summit's management, the ICDE, and Globethics for giving me this opportunity to address you at this session, with which we could conclude our summit. As we know, on our focus on the opportunities and challenges facing educational leaders and innovators today in a globally connected world. With such an attendance of really academics and educational experts from around the world, I'm really impressed with this combination of experts and education academics. The Leadership Summit has provided really a good space for unique exchange and communication to keep abreast of the latest development in the current and future world of learning. We hope that this gathering will be a strong thrust for education systems towards ethically informed discretion in dealing with the opportunities and challenges posed by the emerging technologies and AI. Let us move forward in the spirit of collaboration and innovation that has permeated our discussions to explore pathways and approaches to enable education in a constantly changing and unpredictable world. This summit has probably answered the key question about the ethical principles that must be put in place to ensure safe and humane development of AI-based education, and how AI affects and shapes the future of educational leadership in terms of accessibilities, equity, diversity, and inclusion. We also hope that the three thematic tracks have been thoroughly discussed at the different sessions of this summit. Let's talk about the artificial intelligence really here today and in this concluding session, and its relation to the fourth industrial revolution in education systems, which is no longer a talk about the future of education, as its applications now have already become an integral part of our education systems, whether such systems agree or not. And in our next conference, we might be discussing new generations of technology that goes beyond AI. In fact, augmented and virtual reality, digital industry, the Internet of Things, expert systems, big data processing, cybersecurity, nanotechnology, and other domains of artificial intelligence have become a reality that we adapt ourselves to and use as a positive tool that serves scientific development. While barriers between man and machine have disappeared as a result of such applications, and smart machines and applications have become intelligently interactive with human preferences and responsive to learners. Therefore, they offer learners with their preferred applications while concealing the other applications. It has gone beyond managing algorithms and big data to imposing feelings, values, and behaviors on its users. Here lies the importance of presenting a clear and comprehensive vision in ethical leadership, learning and teaching systems, and their philosophy, which can fundamentally address a radical change in the role of education system, universities and scientific research centers to become pioneers in guiding leadership system toward developing ethical principles that protect and preserve humans' humanity from the control of machine values, which was regarded in the past as science fiction, but today may have become a witness reality. Trends of future learning Trends of future learning indicate that education in the future must change from what we know today. Some parameters that will shape the future of education include personalized learning with multiple learning tools and resources, automating administrative tasks, enhancing achievement rates, and forming data-driven insights on student performance and progress. Furthermore, artificial intelligence will provide learners with a wide space to choose freely due to students' increased awareness of their ability to research and learn online. We might reach the day students shape their own subjects and courses rather than studying some curricular subjects they might not prefer. This would facilitate their learning process, making it in line with their preference and ambitions. Teachers will inevitably be fully transformed into mentors, which would contribute to making students more autonomous in their learning. Guidance and counseling would also become essential for student success. Teachers will play a pivotal role in guiding students to basic information amid the vast volume of knowledge to navigate their way through. Such autonomy might make them learn entirely from home. Students will transcend the walls of the classrooms to connect with their students, with their other students, as well as with their teachers. prominent authors, scientists, and experts develop their knowledge. And such scholars could be their contemporaries or predecessors of past eras. All this might lead to divergent views on university degrees, as the increasing number of people with burdensome educational debt threatens the continuity of education institutions, leading to a serious quest to maintain a low-cost education. This will drive an incentive to innovate new ideas for granting more university scholarships. The education sector will see a shift toward competency-based programs and increased competition among students. And the higher education sector would have to think innovatively to provide students with the training they need to facilitate employment after graduation and bridge the gap between education and labor markets needs in the future. In light of such trends and with such vast exposure, we realize that at its core lies the need to consolidate the ethical systems as appropriate for such a completely different and a new world. Our strategies must focus on addressing the next challenges which revolve around data protection and security, the lack of human interaction due to over-reliance on AI-based learning platforms, challenges related to job automation and job elimination, ethical considerations in monitoring and student autonomy. It is imperative for data protection to be our primary concern, and the need to develop ethical frameworks that include guidelines for using AI, address justice and privacy-related issues, as well as balancing automation and human interaction with hybrid and integrated systems. Dear ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to emphasize that the 21st century students' life is in an interconnected, diverse, and rapidly changing world. The emerging economic, digital, cultural, demographic, and environmental forces are shaping the lives of young people around the world. Increasing, sorry, increasing their daily exposure to different cultures. Such complex environment presents opportunities and challenges, as we all been talking about the last 3 days. And young people today must not only learn to participate in a more interconnected world, but also appreciate and capitalize on the cultural differences, view differences as enriching opportunities in their lives, and respect such differences, appreciate human values, and build a world free of violence, establishing dialogue and building cognitive bridges with in this such world. Developing a multicultural worldview is a lifelong process that education can shape. In this context, and as in early 2012, and as we heard also today from the UNESCO, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, has developed and published the Global Competency Framework to prepare our youth for an inclusive and sustainable world. Such a framework is a good foundation to build on. This framework fosters the ability to study local, global, and multicultural issues, to understand and appreciate others' perspectives and opinions, and to engage in open, appropriate, and effective interaction with people of different cultures, and to work towards collective well-being and sustainable development. Such concepts might constitute the cornerstone of the ethical leadership theory that we hope to launch and develop. We must approach the complexities of implementing AI with integrity, while prioritizing the principles of justice, transparency, and inclusiveness. To lead by example and foster environments where innovation is guided by ethical frameworks and where the human element of future learning remains at the forefront. Let us together be a learning environment that embraces AI responsibly and enables both learners and teachers to thrive and innovate in this digital age while preserving our human values. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that I have contributed to achieve the goals of this summit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Al-Naimi. And may I take the opportunity to invite all our speakers to the stage. Next speaker is Professor Rosana de Souza e Silva, who is representing the International Group of Brazilian Universities, GCUB, and thereafter His Excellency Ambassador Shiferau Shigut Wolasa, who will speak afterwards. May we also kindly invite you already to the stage, please, and have a seat. And Dr. Shakroun, if you would join, you are kindly invited, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished assistants, thank you very much for this opportunity to be here to share some ideas regarding this important issue that we have the opportunity to discuss in these 3 days here in Geneva. And so I will talk only about only 8 minutes and discuss with you some ideas regarding, especially regarding the other points that we have the opportunity to hear here these two in the 3 days, okay? So my name is Rosana, and I will show you that I'm executive director of this organization called the International Cooperation Group of Brazilian Universities, GCUB, and it is an association and consortium of universities composed by 102 universities in Brazil, and we are in all 5 regions of Brazil. Our main mission is to promote in the discussion, the internationalization between our universities and the other institutions all around the world. So, but here we are talking about the global and policy engagement for ethically grounded futures of the education. And I'd like to highlight one point. This point is regarding the formation of the ethical leaders. And why it's important to do it? We believe that it's very important to prepare the children, the young, not only the higher education students, for to become ethical leaders. It's not a case to have a class or a place to discuss it, but we think that it's important that it's a content, a question transversal. It means that in all disciplines, in all areas, in every time, we must discuss with the students, the children, the importance to become ethical leaders. It's because we believe that there are no problems that are only local or individual. All our problems are social and global. And why you discuss it? Because even if you think about your own problems, it's not only your own problems, it's impact the other groups, community, the society. When a person, when a professional, for instance, with their action, produce the pollution in the water, it's not the local problem. This problem is continuing. in the affect the other regions of the community, society, and the world. Also, the big problems that we have in the humanity, the unemployment, for instance, it's not the problem from Africa or from Brazil. It's a problem for everyone because one day or other, these people is find a solution for their problems. So we believe that it's very important to show it for the students, for the young students, for the children, that it's very, very important to understand that they are not alone. They are not alone here. For this reason, we highlighted the importance to formation of global citizens. It's concerned not only with their individual benefits, but with what they can contribute to solve global problems. It means that we must transform the education, especially the higher education, because why the students are at the university? They need to have clearly this question, why they are there. It's not to receive a diploma. It's not only for that. It's not only to have a profession. They are there because they must have the opportunity to reflect, to think about, either to rethink about the planet, the society. They need to understand their responsibility as human. They need to understand that we can say that we are in the age of AI, but the AI it's a phenomenon of a very complicated, contested global context. We have a lot of problems to solve. The AI, it's a phenomenon. It can be a solution and it can be a problem. And we must to prepare the critical students, the critical children, the critical young to understand that we are on the world with a lot of problems. To talk about global problems, we needed to reflect on the developed model you have. This model has produced countless scientific and technology advances, but has also produced such a serious problems like the climate problems, for instance. If you think about it 3 or 4 weeks ago, you must remember the problem that you have in Brazil with the inundation. A very big and very important city for us, Porto Alegre, is 1 month with the inundation. It's a very big problem. We have 1,000 of people in without a house and the students out of the school for more than 1 month. And we know that our big problems for the humanity and for the planet is the climate problems. And why you can show, why you can discuss with our students to show them that the AI cannot solve all the problems around the world, but can help them to think about these kind of problems, not to make other problems like Mrs. Maria Lucia explained for us this morning. They must be critical. They must be responsible persons, people. Just a minute, please. Oh, sorry, so sorry. Okay. Now. And Mr. Shokran told us this today. Do you remember the number of the poverty that we have around the world? The hunger is a very big problem. We cannot disconsider it. We cannot talk about AI without consider that there are a lot of people that there is not food to eat. There is not, we cannot talk about the important technologies as nanoscience, technology, if you don't consider that we have a lot of unemployment and precarious employment. You have the lack of housing, lack of access to water and electricity, lack of access to decent health system, and so on. So when you discuss the assessment, when you discuss the problems that you have with evaluation, for example, for the students, it's a technical problems. It's a technical things. We must discuss, open our mind and discuss how this technology can contribute to solve, to help us to solve the global problems that you have. And it's not difficult to understand that we have an unsustainable development. When the UNESCO and the other international organizations calling in 17 development goals, it's because we have an unsustainable development. We have the unsustainable development. We create this world. We create an unsustainable development when you have the riches for a group of people, and we have a lot of others without school, without food, without electricity, without water, wherever. Furthermore, we have millions of children and young people out of school and out of the university around the world. And sometimes when I hear the people talking about AI, I think that they think that the world is, for instance, Geneva, is Canada, is United States. But no, it's not. It's not. We cannot talk about the AI if you don't talk about a lot of people that don't have condition to receive water, poor water. It's our problem as leadership. It's our problem. It's not the other problem. It's not the problem for Africa. It's not problem from Brazil, Latin America. No, it's our problem as a global citizen. Also, you have a lot of other problems that we can discuss with our young students at the universities, how this technology can help us to solve the problems, to help the problems like discrimination against women, Black people, indigenous people, people with disabilities, religion, disrespect, and so on. This kind of technology can help us a lot, but we need to transforming the education, transforming the higher education, change the way that you evaluate our students. It's not important to discuss, in my opinion, only discuss how to use GPT. But it's important to discuss with them how to use this technology to do the best, to create new alternatives, to overcome the discrimination. So, global and police engagement for ethically grounded futures of the education, it's a question, must consider an inclusive education, it's a mistake, an inclusive education for all through life or for a long life, and focus on global problems. It's my words. Thank you very much for your attention.
I think it's a time to say good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really honored to be here and to learn from academicians, experts in the field, and the person who came from politics. A little bit alien for me, this area. Don't worry, I will finish early as soon as possible because I said from politics, the opportunity is after listening from all the experts, I'm here to conclude what you have said in the last 2 days. I came from Ethiopian Education and Training Authority. I prepared slides, but after listening from all you discussions, I changed in my mind and decided to speak from my mind. My institution is responsible to oversee quality delivery of education and training in Ethiopia in the area of licensing for higher education, private higher education, public higher education, international schools, technical and vocational schools, accreditation of all of these, and authentication of credentials from this higher education, be it from domestic schools or from international schools. Before I go directly to what I'm doing in my institution, let me speak something about myself. I was born in a very rural area of Ethiopia, used to walk 84 kilometers per week to get grade 7. I used to walk on Sunday afternoon from my village to the place where the school was found, and Friday afternoon back to home. Sunday, carrying my bag with my food for 1 week, and go back on a Friday, empty bag. 124 kilometers to find grade 9. But a father of 6 who sent one of his son to one of the best school in Korea, called Korea Advanced Science and Technology, called CAST. And my son graduated from this school by double degree in engineering, electrical engineering, and computer science, and became AI scientist. And usually we do video conference with him every Sunday. And he, every day he tells me how AI work and how it's interesting and how it's impact the life of people in the education sector. But I'm very alien for this thing. And I'm thinking, and one day he told me that if AI successfully combined with biotech, probably it may replace human thinking. And he made me fear of it. And this morning, one of the presenters from Sweden, he told about the opportunity of AI. And I asked him on the team this morning, and I said, how do you see the challenge of AI for the future of humanity? And he said, it's not a challenge, but we need to regulate. So if we can able to regulate properly and make maximum benefit of it, humanity will have the greater service from this technology. If we cannot regulate and minimize its risk, of course, it is an avoidable issue, because I came from the rural area. Now my son cannot go back to his home. The technology is taking us forward, changing us, bringing to us new things and new opportunity and a new era. We need to go with it. So global thinking and policy engagement has to go with this form of AI in the destiny of education. But as my sister said, access for those who are not, exposed for this type of technology is very important, not to leave them behind. In this many parts of global South, even though the internet reached 67% of the global population, is still there are so many problems of access, let alone for internet, but for primary and KG schools. So if we reach there, we can solve this problem. Not only to reach there. In my agency, we authenticate credentials of students. Every morning, there are the very big queue, sometimes 2,000 people per day who are coming to my office. And what I have tried to do is to automate this system and to make them to apply from their home instead of paying for car transport, everything. And we started to send them, we posted on our website, you can apply on this website. You don't need to come. And everybody, they came here, we gave them orientation, then they applied around our office vicinity. They paid for some computer house peoples, and we sent them email to give them appointment. 95% of them, they didn't respond. And I asked my assistants, what's wrong with them? Why these people are not responding? And we tried to call them again. To your surprise, most of them, they don't have smartphones and they can't access their emails. Then what I decided to do it, we start to send them message on their regular phone. Now they are coming, responding for our message after they apply. So if we cannot create this opportunity for everybody to equally use, even not equal, even fairly use the technologies, then people will leave behind. So we cannot stop, or we cannot make something, we cannot control AI, but we need to create opportunity for everybody to participate fairly and to be a global citizen, to create inclusiveness for disadvantaged and people who are not accessed for this issue. So from this 3 days meeting, I learned a lot. I really inspired. And I was thinking how I can take this back to give efficient, effective service with considering privacy and the security of citizens and delivery of service for private higher education, especially for online education providers. So this is a very great opportunity for us. I would like to congratulate the organizers, and it was the best time of it, and thank you so much.
Thank you so very much to all of our speakers so far. It is indeed a privilege also to broaden the scope and the perspectives, to listen to those who have governmental responsibilities and those who are engaged in associations of higher education, and to have this perspectival approaches added to our conversations. Thank you very much. Now comes the moment where we would like to deliver on a promise I made to you on Wednesday and on Thursday. You remember our wrap-up session where we did the word of the day exercise. So we would like to unveil in a figurative sense this surprise now, and I invite Benita and Sulfika to kindly come forward.
Hello, everyone. A pure found poem consists exclusively of outside text. The words of the poem remain as they were found, with few additions or omissions. This poem has been composed based on the 10 selected words of the day submitted at the end of Wednesday and Thursday. As we're walking together, reflecting and articulating our shared concerns and hopes, we learned that none of us possessed the definite answer.
We are on a journey of discovery, joining hands as connected ethical minds in search of integrity and innovation.
Filled with the promises of education greater than ourselves, and stimulating one another to gain deeper understanding of the challenges of our times, always alert, critical, and yet hopeful.
With openness and fairness, respecting our diversity, our cultural and epistemic locations, and with sensitivity for heavy past and present legacies of our manifold divides.
As we are walking together, we continue striving for a world in which technology does not reduce us in our humanity, nor in our commitment to ethics, but is elevating us to autonomous agents of change, while we will have been courageous enough in staring down the elephant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's good also to hear the younger voices. We have heard our theme is an intergenerational topic as well. I now invite the ICDE Secretary General Torun Yelsvik and the Executive Director Fadi Daoud to kindly address us as at the closing of our summit.
Dear delegates, hosts, colleagues, and friends, the ICDE Leadership Summit 2024 is coming to an end, and what an experience this has been for all of us. After 3 intensive days of insightful presentations, panel discussions, and workshops, not to mention all the productive discussions during the breaks and lunches, has really created a warm and positive vibe from strengthened connections and friendships across our diverse global community. The ICDE Leadership Summit is a smaller type of event, exactly allowing for rich discussions and real engagement and aiming for interaction from all participants. So, as many have said before me, I can not stand here today and say that we have come to a joint conclusion regarding the ethical challenges for educational leadership in the age of AI. But I think we have recognized something important together. And it has to do with the human aspect of tackling disruptive technologies, unprecedented challenges, and everything that we don't know about AI. But if someone asks you in 10 years, what did we talk about in Geneva at the Leadership Summit? I'm sure everyone will remember what? The elephant, right? Our president, ICD President Mark Nichols, characterized AI as a charging elephant. And our board member, Mpina Makwo from UNISA, elaborated on this metaphor, you might remember, giving her local and personal insights to how you actually tackle an elephant. She said, you cannot run from it, you cannot fight it. The only thing you can do is to appeal at its emotions. And then I realized I actually have a personal story that can confirm that you were right, Mpina. Because in 2011, I went to South Africa with my family, and I spent 4 days at a safari lodge in the beautiful Durban area. And my boys, I have 2 sons, they must have been 11 and 14 back then. And we had spent amazing days on safari. We saw all the animals, giraffes, zebras, elephants drinking water in the morning light, cheetahs, lions, buffaloes. We enjoyed every minute, and I wasn't afraid 1 second, because even if we were in this open vehicle, we had our local guide who protected us. So everything went well until we were to go back home after a wonderful holiday, and we find ourselves on this tiny road in the same open vehicle. And then suddenly, this massive male elephant is standing on the road in front of the car. And he was so close that I could see his eyelashes, waving up and down. And he was not happy. He was, he was blowing his trunk. He was baffling with the ears. And I knew that in a second, that elephant could flip that car around and crush everyone that I loved there and then. So what does the driver do? He starts talking to the elephant. He said, "Listen to me, boy. You're a good boy, but you're in my way. You need to step aside. You need to give a space for the road." And I was thinking, is this what's going to save me and my family? Is this critical moment? He's actually talking to the elephant. But it worked. You were right. The elephant blinked one more time, and then he stepped aside, and we can pass on the road. So, to conclude, we cannot stop believing in the human capacity of tackling a wicked problem such as AI, because you can use the term also, as a president said, you can use it on education itself. We will never be finished. We will always need to deal with new developments and new challenges that challenges our practices, but also ourselves as human beings. And several of the speakers of this conference have pointed out the uneven distribution of access and resources and representation when it comes to AI. And the reality is that this is the situation for education as a whole. We must indeed combat the existing injustice by pointing out the biases that are being replicated and addressing the need for protection of personal privacy, academic integrity, deconstruction of knowledge, decolonization of knowledge, epistemic justice, you name it. And we need indeed to combat deepfakes and racism and disinformation. And yes, Rosanna, it's our responsibility. You're all right. However, we must also embrace the positive impact and enormous potential that AI gives to knowledge production and personal learning paths, but also, as pointed out rightly from our colleague from the University of Stockholm, the potential for teachers, for efficiency in teaching and research. So we must take all this on board while being critical in our reflection. And our capability to do so will only come from doing as we do today. Bringing these voices to the table, discussing, arguing, argumenting, maybe reflecting a bit, and then coming back again. It is international collaboration. It is to bring the diverse voices to the table. That is what will help us tackling the elephant together. So, the global communities of ICDE and Globethics, we both bring diverse voices together. And we have seen and heard so many of you on the stage during these days. And we believe that international collaboration and cross-border partnerships are what we need to build trust and understanding and peace. So I would like to thank Globethics for undertaking the role as the host for the ICDE Leadership Summit and for shaping the theme of leadership and AI under the lens of ethics. The values of our two organizations go hand in hand as we are striving for an education that is both inclusive, scalable, and sustainable. So my sincerest thanks to Globethics President Christoph Struckelberg and Executive Director Fadi Dao for their leadership and generous hosting of the ICDE Leadership Summit 2024. I will also thank Professor Amelie Ekwe, our chair of the program committee. She has led the development of a rich and engaging program in various formats. And to Deputy Executive Director Lucy Lopez has been in charge of the organization committee and the overall practical coordination of the event. It has been professional, enriching, and unforgettable. Thank you to you and to your whole team who has been working so hard so that everyone else could have an enjoyable conference experience. And finally, thank you to my own team, Anna, Sophia, and Anais, for all your hard work and for being here always for our members and partners. So I hope that I will see many of you again next year in New Zealand for the ICD World Conference 2025. And it will be hosted by the Open Polytechnic of New Zealand and Massey University. It's been a pleasure to be with all of you in beautiful Geneva, and I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Torun. And now I invite Globethics Executive Director Fadi Daoud to speak.
Ethical Leadership in the Age of AI, Rethinking Futures of Education. This is the title of our summit. And in this title, I see three elements. Each one of them deserves to be a topic for a separate conference. The age of AI, the futures of education, and the ethical leadership. You know that we are heading all together towards this pact for the future that will be endorsed and announced in September in New York as somehow reframing the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goal, and the vision for our common future. And with this pact for the future, we'll have also the Global Digital Compact announced in September. I'm mentioning this for two reasons. First of all, to share with you my belief of how timely is our summit and the whole discussions that we had during those 3 days. And for a second reason, maybe less positive, which is having been involved, Globethics, in this process of the Summit for the Future and the Pact for the Future, I always sadly noticed that education has always been sidelined or marginalized in the discussions in developing the Pact for the Future and the related digital compact, which is a big challenge for all of us. And I think this is why also we are all together here to share our forces and resources to become more impactful and hold together our responsibility to make sure that this pact for the future and this vision for the future is also shaped from an educational perspective, because there is no hopeful or positive future, I think, without clear educational vision that is built on. We also this common responsibility on this level, but to not to take too much from your time at this very last minute of our summit, I would directly jump to the third element of the title, which is ethical leadership. And out of the 10 required capabilities of ethical leadership, I will mention 3. The first one is lucidity, and I selected those 3 in the context of this summit and the discussions we had, and the very rich input that we received during those 3 days. Lucidity, because this allows us to understand, assess, acknowledge facts in their diverse situations, referential backgrounds, and contexts. We heard how diverse are the realities, you know, from universities who are fully engaged in AI and part of their governance, structure, learning and teaching experiences, and other places of the world where they are still struggling with to have connectivity, to have even the devices needed to engage in this process. So we need to take this large diversity into consideration and to be really to look at the reality as it is, not as we imagine it. This would require also have inclusive, not imperial, not neo-colonial, not, I mean, we heard also those words during the summit, but also critical thinking to be able to deal as ethical leaders with the situation. The second capability that is required is responsibility. And I mean in this context by responsibility is to not to be in a denial attitude. Somebody this morning said that they heard in their university, somebody saying, since we have been doing this for 2,000 years, why we need to change? And of course, this can be so, I mean, an easily attitude, a conservative attitude vis-a-vis any newity, any challenging new reality. But of course, denial is the worst attitude to take, and it cannot be part of any type of ethical leadership. We need to embrace the challenges and to turn them into opportunities. The solution exists. You know, we mentioned many times that last week we had in Geneva those two world summits, the WISIS and the AI for Good summits, with more than 6,000 people attending, and so Globethics was intensively involved in this in at least 4 sessions, and also organizing one of the tracks. And we heard from top leaders of the giant technological companies, and at the same time, top political leaders saying that solutions exist. Technological solutions exist, and political solutions exist to all the challenges that they were shared and discussed during the 2 summits. However, what is missing are the decisions, the decision makers, the right decision makers, the ethical leaders who will take the right decisions to inform this new revolution into an ethical and inclusive one. And the third and last point about ethical leadership is trust. You know, in many situations, both fear and hope are irrational attitudes. In many situations. And if we need to choose among those 2 irrational attitudes, I would largely prefer to choose hope and not fear. So choosing hope helps us to overcome fear and all the consequences of fear, and allow us to believe that we can contribute in shaping the future. Because only those who believe in their capacity to shape the future and to contribute in shaping the future can really make the future. And this also requires to trust, and we heard it many times during the summit, to trust the younger generations. I really do believe in our higher education institutions that the main word for designing how we cope with AI should be first given to the students, and then to the teachers, and then to the governance and the admin team in the universities. Because if you look at who is using more and who is more knowledgeable about this technology, you see why I'm putting this hierarchy in this way. So trusting the younger people, trusting also the innovation with all the risks that brings with it, and taking some of those risks, and definitely being humble in facing this global challenge, but also hopeful. Globethics is glad to keep this reflection ongoing with our partners, ICDE, ICHE, UNESCO, and all the others that I will mention, with all of you, that we are happy to continue and keeping this reflection and this discussion ongoing and staying in touch. I think we can now share the QR that would allow you from now, if you scan it, to access some of our publications. At least 4 of our latest publications are on AI and education. The very latest one is a textbook on AI for higher education, with a policy paper on inclusive AI for a better future, and so on. So all this is shared for free, and we are happy to share it with you, as well as we are happy to learn, and we have been learning from your diverse experiences. I would like to mention also that this conference is not ending now. It will continue through its outcomes, and so many outcomes, I'm sure, through the networking that happened here, through the very interesting papers. Many of them, I hope, will be published also and made available for a wider community. But also, during the conference, we had a team working on a report for the conference, and this team will continue working on this report during the coming 2-3 months, and we promise you that early September you will receive a comprehensive, substantial report reflecting the main outcomes of our discussions. Divya was saying this morning, we need less policies and more guidelines. So we'll take this into consideration also. It's not definitely the report won't be the final word in do and don't, but clearly bringing some important guidelines for future engagement in this area. So now the very final part of my word, I would like to share some thanks. And I would like to start by thanking you, the participants. More than 126, at least, participants from more than 35 countries. This is what we have been able to count, which is a wonderful sign of trust and of engagement and of a global community gathered together to reflect on this very important topic. More than 60 speakers and moderator, in addition also to the online audience that had been following up, at least in the opening and the closing sessions. I would like very much to thank our partners, our main partner, ICDE, in this summit, Mark, the president, Toron, the secretary general also, and all the team of ICDE for your engagement in the preparation and organization of this event, and also to thank ICHE, UNESCO, for having joined also the organization of this event as a partner. My thanks also extend to the UNESCO. We had the presence of Burhan representing the headquarters among us, and ITU also. Those are our two key partners when it comes to AI. So UNESCO leading on AI ethics, and ITU, the whole development and deployment of this technology, the reflection and the policies about it. I also would like to thank the canton of Geneva that was represented at the opening by the head of international relations, because they were very helpful and supportive also to have this conference happening in this beautiful city that I hope you benefited a bit from the good weather we had the last 3 days. This is what we call good weather in Geneva. So it was, I think, good enough to be able to walk around the lake and to discover the beauty of this city. Thanks also to the event's partners, sponsors, suppliers, Turnitin, Nord Education, Kaji, Geneva Tourism, HMI, Wello, others. Thanks to Bioethics Campus and its team who hosted us in this very beautiful campus, the technical team, the communication team, photographers, and all those who helped us during these days. I would like finally to thank Globethics, to thank the president for his support and presence and engaged presence during the conference. And I would like share a special thanks to the whole Globethics teams and volunteers who deployed tremendous efforts to make from this event an intellectually rich, but also a personally engaging and joyful experience. And for this reason, I would like to invite Dr. Amélie Ekwe, the academic dean of Globethics and the chair of the program committee, please to join me here on the stage. And also Lucy Howie Lopez, who is the deputy director and who chaired the organizing committee, to join us also. I think you noticed that Amélie is also, in addition to her academic quality, she has poetic skills also that we benefit from them through this poem that was shared with us, built out of the wordings of this conference. So through you too, I would like to thank all the members of the two committees and acknowledge the huge work that had been done in organizing the summit. Also the volunteers who have been supporting us in a very dedicated and professional way. May I ask you all, the volunteers and the members of the team, to also come here near the stage, because I think you deserve a big applause and big thank you from all the community. Thank you for not only the work achieved, which is highly rewarded by what we are already hearing as satisfaction and gratitude from the participants, but also the work that is a real manifestation of the ethical leadership. This was my first word I shared with you, the volunteers and the team, while opening this conference. And among all the teams and the group, I would like to specifically name Bridget, because she joined us as intern, and the main work of Bridget was dedicated to this, to the organization of this event, and this is the very last day of her internship with us. Where are you, Bridget? Thank you so much. My very final words is that ethical leadership in the title is not only about a concept, but also about a role and an attitude. Thus, we have all been here to talk about it, but also to walk the talk together. So at a moment when we will be taking our respective roads back home, let's stay on the common path of ethical leadership for a better future for all. Thank you. This is the inclusive spirit.
Can someone press a button and she can join us? Yeah. She's one of our volunteers. The photographer. No, someone can press the button. Come on.
Somebody else will take the photos. Do we have all ICDE teams here in the photo?
We don't have Anna. Yep.
I can't see them.
Anna's just here. She's taking pictures.
Come, we'll share with you the photo after.
Stand here. That's good.
Okay, biggest smile.
Christoph, yes. No, stay. Ask me, stay.
I'm going to stand in front of you.
Ready? I'm going to take several, yeah? Okay. Smiling. 1, 2, 3. And now with this one.
Just click. No?
Battery.